foremost, I'm really excited that you're doing that you're performing experiments in your classroom. I think that that's really a way to grab the kids, and that's something that I really like. So that was a good experiment that you did.
Thank you.
All right. So when I walked into your classroom, I did see that you had a learning objective posted and a unit goal posted. How did your lesson relate to those things?
Well, we were trying to get to an experiment. I'm not sure if you got that. And so we were trying to really, because I have a difficult class, and I have a lot of ED kids in there, and when they're in there, I just really can't do the things that I want to do, because we're behind a little bit. So we were trying to get to the daily objectives to get to the learning goals. So one of my goals was to explain chemical reactions,
okay,
as opposed to just only physical reactions or mixtures. So we were just doing an experiment to get the kids to be able to visualize and see what they look like so we can get to the end of that goal.
Okay, so how does that relate to your unit goal, the chemical and physical reactions?
Well, it relates because it's giving them a visual. What I did was I burned some magnesium, and so the kids will be able to basically, I asked them, is this a chemical reaction or a physical reaction? And once they're able to identify that, within the classroom, they can expand that to other probably more difficult experiments or things on paper.
So after you did that experiment, how do you know that the kids got it?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of them, you kind of just tell, that they're not looking confused, and some of them, look like they got it, or they didn't ask any questions, so to speak. So if they're not asking questions, I know they got it.
Okay, so have you thought about utilizing a content embedded scale like we talked about at our professional development a couple weeks ago?
I have, and I started with that, but as time went on and the year went on, frankly, I couldn't keep up with, because the class is always changing again with those ED kids in there. It's hard to keep that current with what we're actually going to be doing in the class that day.
So I'd like you to think toward some of the meetings that you've been in and some of the classes that you've been teaching, and take a look at the idea of compliance versus engagement. And when you stated earlier that the students don't ask questions, it means that they have it, and you immediately responded with, well, I don't really know if that's the truth that they get. A content embedded scale can help you realize if those kids have it. So I know you said you've started to use them. I'd really like you to spend some time with your PLC putting together a content embedded scale for every unit that you end up teaching for the remainder of the semester. So,
Mr. Jewell, keep in mind this is my first year at this school.
It is.
So when you refer to these meetings, are you sure they were this year? Because I don't remember those meetings that you speak of.
Well, and I know that that's one of our professional development activities that we do at the beginning of every year, because that's one of our issues that we're trying to increase. It's one of our problems of practice. So I do know that you have PLC time every day. I believe you guys meet during 4th hour. And so, one of those things that I'd like you guys to get back on is using a content embedded scale designed for a unit. Now, not a daily thing, but for a unit. And then that way you can have the students check for their understanding based on that unit content embedded scale. And that'll be a way in which you can really tell if a student is able to show proficiency in chemical and physical reactions.
How long should my unit be?
Well, I would direct the question right back at you. How long does it take you to go through a unit?
Well, with those ED kids in there, it can take me a month or 5 weeks to go through a unit that originally would take me a couple of weeks. And so you talk about PLC time. Well, they don't have the kids that I have. So honestly, PLC is a waste of my time, because they're in there going through all these lessons, and by the time we come back to PLC, say a month later, they've gotten through all this, and I'm still on, I feel like, step 2.
Well, and you do have 6 ED students in that class, but I would also...
With no help.
Well, I would also, you do have a para, and you do have a teacher's aide, and if those aren't actually doing the job that they're supposed to be doing, then that's a discussion for later.